Right now, you're dreaming you're a person, a character with a name, a history, a personality shaped by what happened to you. You're dreaming you're the wounded child whose parents were too harsh, or the successful adult who overcame adversity, or the seeker looking for truth. These wounds from generations of trauma, passed down like inherited curses through no one's fault, they happened, yes. The harsh words were spoken, the blows landed, the neglect occurred. But here's what you don't see. The wound itself is gone. The harsh words evaporated into silence years ago. The physical pain lasted only moments. What remains is just a story your mind created about what it all meant. I'm damaged. I'm unworthy. I'm different. I need to be better. The event passes in seconds or minutes, but the story runs for decades, for your entire life. Your mind created this narrative originally to protect you, to help you avoid future pain, to make sense of senseless cruelty. But now this story is your pain. It's not protecting you, it's imprisoning you in an endless loop where every present moment gets filtered through a past that exists only in your thoughts. You believe you'll amount to nothing because that's the story. You believe you're broken because that's the story. But even if you had the happiest childhood, even if you have no trauma story, you're still dreaming. Dreaming you're the successful one, the loved one, the happy one. The self you think you are, whether wounded or whole, is just a creation of neural networks in your brain, a necessary fiction to help you navigate society. But you've forgotten its fiction. You think you are the character instead of the consciousness experiencing the character. When you finally see through this dream, when you recognize the illusory nature of the self you've been defending your whole life, the filters fall away. Reality appears. You don't become enlightened. You realize you were always free, just dreaming you were trapped. This is liberation, waking up from the dream of being someone. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how this prison was built, why you can't see it, and most importantly, how to escape from the matrix of your own mind. Let's start with the mechanism. In your brain, there's something called the default mode network, the DMN. It's made up of three main components working together. First, the medial prefrontal cortex. This is your executive center, making decisions about who you are and what you want. Second, the posterior cingulate cortex. This is your narrative center, constantly writing the story of your life, connecting past to future, creating the timeline of you. Third, the angular gyrus. This is your assessment center, evaluating and integrating all these stories, deciding what everything means for you. Together, these three regions create something remarkable, the sense of being a separate self, a person with a past, a future, preferences, fears, desires. This isn't a mistake, it's absolutely necessary. Without this DMN, you couldn't function in society. You wouldn't know your name, wouldn't pay your taxes, wouldn't remember you're married or that you have a job. You'd be unable to differentiate yourself from others, unable to navigate social relationships. But here's where everything goes wrong. This functional construct, designed to help you interact with the world, becomes a tyrant. Between ages 3 and 7, your DMN is forming, solidifying. Watch a 3-year-old, their pure presence, playing without self-consciousness, living in the moment. They don't have a solid story of me yet, but by age 7, the prison is largely built. The child now has a fixed idea. I am someone who is good at this, bad at that, liked by these people, rejected by those. The functional tool has become identity. The map has replaced the territory. And here's the tragedy. You start believing you are this construct. You forget it's just a navigation system. You think the story in your mind about who you are is who you are. This is like thinking you are your GPS rather than the one using it. Now let's talk about how this prison becomes inescapable. When you're 5 years old and your father hits you, your developing DMN doesn't just record "father hit me," it creates a story. I must be bad. I'm not good enough. I need to be different. This story gets woven into the very fabric of your self-construct. When your mother ignores you, the DMN writes, "I'm not worthy of attention. I'm invisible. I don't matter." When kids exclude you from play, the story becomes, "I'm different. I don't belong. Something's wrong with me." Each trauma doesn't just hurt, it becomes a brick in your prison wall. Your parents' own traumas, their own DMN prisons, shape how they treat you, passing down generational patterns of imprisonment. The abused becomes the abuser, not from evil, but from living inside their own story of who they are. By adulthood, you're not just living with these stories, you believe you are these stories. When someone criticizes you, it feels like death because you think they're attacking your very existence, but they're only poking at a story, a construct, a collection of neural patterns you've mistaken for your true self. Here's how the trap completes itself. You believe you're not good enough. That's your DMN story. So you see the world through this filter. Someone doesn't text back. See, I knew I wasn't worthy of love. You make a mistake at work. Proof that I'm incompetent. You succeed at something. It was luck or they don't see the real me yet. Everything gets interpreted through your prison walls. If your DMN says you're bad, you literally cannot see goodness in your life. It's filtered out. You're living in a virtual reality created by your own mind, seeing not what is, but what your stories tell you must be. This creates a feedback loop. Your stories create your perception reinforces your reinforced stories create more limited perception. Round and round, tighter and tighter, until you can't imagine any other way of being. The negative energy accumulates, the stress hormones flood your system, your body breaks down, disease develops, you age prematurely, you die young, killed by a story you believed was you. The reason this is so hard to escape, the prisoner believes they are the prison. When you try to examine your false self, who's doing the examining? The false self. It's like asking a character in a dream to realize they're dreaming. The DMN will even co-opt spirituality, turning seeking enlightenment into another story about who you are, another identity to defend. You fight to protect your prison because you think you're protecting yourself. Every wall you've built feels like your own skin. The thought of dismantling your identity feels like death, because to the false self, it is death. This is why people die defending stories about themselves that make them miserable. They'd rather suffer as someone than risk being no one. But here's the secret. You are not your thoughts. You are not your story. You are not your DMN. How do I know this? Simple. You can observe your thoughts. Whatever is observing cannot be what's being observed. You can watch your mind create stories. The watcher cannot be the stories being watched. Right now, notice the voice in your head. Notice how you can notice it. That awareness, that capacity to observe, that's what you actually are. Not the voice, not the stories, not the personality construct. You are the consciousness in which all these things arise. The DMN is just a tool you have, not who you are. It's like realizing you're not your car, you're the driver. You've been identifying with the vehicle instead of the consciousness operating it. So, how do you escape? Here are the tested methods. Method 1, meditation, the direct seeing. Sit still, do nothing, watch what happens. Your DMN will scream that this is dangerous, lazy, unproductive. That's the prison guard panicking. Stay still. Watch thoughts arise and pass. Notice you remain. Thoughts come and go, but awareness persists. You are that awareness, not the thoughts. Method 2. Self-inquiry, question everything. When a thought arises like, I'm not good enough, ask, who is not good enough? Look for this I you're referring to. Can you find it? Is there actually a solid someone there? Or just a collection of sensations, thoughts, memories? Who exactly is this I you've been protecting all your life? Method 3, present moment awareness. The DMN exists in time, past and future, but you exist now. Bring attention to immediate sensory experience. Feel your breath, listen to sounds, feel the weight of your body. In pure present moment awareness, where is your story? Where is your problematic self? It disappears because it only exists in thought time, not in real time. Method 4, trauma release through understanding. See your traumatic experiences for what they were: a child's developing brain, trying to make sense of incomprehensible behavior from damaged adults. Your father didn't hit you because you were bad. He hit you because he was trapped in his own DMN prison, acting out his own trauma stories. Once you see this, the story loses power. It's just information about what happened, not who you are. Method 5, watch the watcher. This is advanced. Notice that even the one who watches thoughts can be watched. There's awareness of awareness. Rest as that. This is your true nature, not even the observer, but the knowing itself, the consciousness in which both observed and observer arise. Method 6, recognize the functional without identifying. You can use your personality construct without being it, like an actor who plays a role but doesn't forget their acting. Play your social role, use your DMN to navigate, but remember, it's a tool, not your identity. You can have a personality without being imprisoned by it. When you see through the illusion, you don't disappear. Your DMN doesn't vanish. You still function in society, but the identification breaks. The prison walls become transparent. You see them as functional constructs, not as yourself. The voice in your head continues, but you no longer mistake it for your voice. It's just mental activity, no different from your heartbeat or digestion. Automatic bodily function, not your essence. Fear drops dramatically. What is there to protect when you realize the thing you've been protecting was never real? Criticism might sting the personality, but you remain untouched. Success might please the construct, but you remain unchanged. You discover what you really are, the open space in which all experience arises, not the traumatized child, not the seeking adult, not the spiritual person, but the awareness itself, free and present before any story begins. The cosmic joke is this: you were never actually trapped. You are the consciousness that has been free all along, playing a game of being imprisoned by your own projections. It's like having a nightmare that you're in prison, then waking up to realize you were always safe in bed. Your suffering is real, your trauma was real, the pain in your life is real. But the one you think is suffering, that's the construct, the story, the DMN creation. The real you, consciousness itself, has never been touched by any of it. This isn't spiritual bypassing, this isn't denying your experience. This is recognizing what you truly are beyond experience. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. You're not the clouds, you're the sky. You're not the prison, you're the space in which the prison appears. So, here you are, at the choice point. You can close this video and let your DMN turn even this into another story. I'm someone who knows about the DMN prison but can't escape. Or I'm too traumatized, or I'm different, this won't work for me. Or you can recognize right now that the voice creating those stories is not you. It's the prison guard, protecting its own existence. You don't need to destroy the guard, you don't need to fight the prison. You just need to see it clearly for what it is: a functional construct that you are not. The door to your prison has always been open. The lock was only in your mind. The guard was only your belief. The walls were only thoughts you took to be yourself. Freedom isn't somewhere else. It's not in the future. It's not after more healing or more practice. Freedom is recognizing what you are right now. The awareness reading these words, not the story about who's reading them. Wake up. The prison was only a thought. You are already free.
Created by Elias Stasinos. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share and comment.